Do you know that guy?
Hey all, Jed's here, and I am doing my 20,000 mile review. I was gonna try to do something big production wise, but you know what, I just want to kind of go over the things that are going well with this bike, the things that aren't going well with this bike, and yeah. So anyways, I'm in Florida today. I'm in the Ocala National Forest area, Central Florida, the windy roads of Florida. It's actually nice riding around here. And anyways, I want to kind of just go through some of the things to be wary on your Triumph Bonneville T120. If you're looking to buy a T120, I'm going to kind of give you a wholesome, all honest review here. So, bike's got 20,944 miles, just about 21,000. And I've had it for, it'll be 11 months next month, so, or 12, it'll be a year next month. So I've had it for 11 months. It's been a great bike. It's been in storage a lot. But I wanted to kind of go over the good, the bad, and my recommendations if you are really interested in, you know, getting a Bonneville T120. So the good is, it's a Triumph Bonneville T120. I mean, I don't know if you guys know much about them. If you do, you probably have done your research. But all T120s come stock with ABS, traction control, heated hand grips. My model, I put cruise control on. This was a factory extra. I paid a little extra to have it done when I bought the bike. I've got to say, if you are a big rider like I am, I went and drove 577 miles from Durham, North Carolina, down to Florida for Bike Week this week. And cruise control is basically an essential thing. You know, it gives you the option to kind of, you know, set it, forget it, lean back, relax, and go with the flow. So, I would highly recommend the cruise control. The cruise control really makes the bike a great bike. The motor is the 1200cc inline 2-cylinder 270-degree firing order. That is a 8-valve single overhead cam. It has a valve adjustment schedule of about 20,000 miles. I just did my valve adjustments this past fall. 7 out of the 8 valves were out of spec, so it is imperative that you do your valve inspections and valve adjustments. I will also bring my bike in for its 40,000 mile service when that comes around. And yeah, so make sure you get those checked out. At 20,000 miles, my valves were definitely out of spec. My bike's got the chrome covers. The reason I went with chrome is just the ease of maintenance and clean. You know, for cleaning, I do big miles, you know, 20,000 miles in 11 months, and I've only ridden the bike for really, you know, 8-9 months, not even, less than that, because of the winter. It's been winter in Vermont, so this is the first time I've ridden the bike this year, and the last time I rode it was November, so December, January, February, March. 4 months it just sat idle, so I've only ridden riding for 7 months. So I've got 20,000 miles, so I put a lot of miles on my motorcycle. And the chrome covers are definitely worth the investment if you're like me, like to have the bikes remain clean, especially if you're putting big miles on. Sometimes it's not unlike me to put thousands of miles on in a week. And just like the ease of clean and ease of maintenance and the good look of it. And I think it is just a great way to just maintain that look when you put the big miles on. So keep that in mind. At 20,000 miles, you're going to start noticing I have some swirling in the paint, some scratches in the paint. I do my best. I don't use a tank bag. I do wax. I try to clean it as often as I can, but I'm getting black little scratches. No big deal. I got that all fixed up. And, you know, it's like, for me, it's just cosmetic. It means the bike's used and ridden. Some people are really all about meticulous paint and making sure it looks great. So maybe if you were to consider getting a Bonneville T120, spend a little extra on the premium paint package. I know Scotty Amen, his paint is, he's got a premium paint package with his T120. It's definitely, they look great. I personally just wanted a standard Bonneville. I just wanted to get into T120. So this is a base model. So that's why it's black. Another issue I had was the fuel cap. Fuel cap started to leak fuel about, I don't know, about a week, about 1,000, 2,000 miles ago. The first problem I was having is no matter how tight I tightened it, it would start to loosen itself. And then, of course, when you're on the ride, you smell gasoline, gas starts to leak out, and you can't tighten it because it's locked. So you have to pull over, turn the bike off, take the key out, put the key into the gas cap, relock it, retighten it, and then hopefully it'll stay. And then it really just screwed the pooch the last 1,000 miles. And gas just started leaking out of the keyhole, starts leaking out the side. The gasket just stopped working. So, because I just couldn't get it tight enough. So I went with this aftermarket Kiriakin gas cap. It's pretty sweet. Pops open, screw it undone, screw it back on. Nice and flush, nice and clean. It was like $50. And I really like it. It's just a standard gas cap. I think this is for a Sportster. So it works great on the Triumph. They all have to use the same cap because of EPA emission laws and stuff. So, you know, all caps are pretty much universal. So keep an eye on that. Around 3,000 miles, the radiator started leaking. One of the tabs started weeping, mounting tabs. So under warranty, Triumph replaced it. And it wasn't really that bad of a problem. I put about 4,000, 5,000 miles on the bad radiator, I mean, I had to put probably 2 quarts of coolant through it that time period. They replaced it, no problem. The biggest issue I had with this bike was the transmission. It went out. It went bye-bye. 6th gear, lost a cog. Main output shaft bearings were all shot. They not really sure what happened. You know, I'm following the 10,000 mile oil change interval, and they don't know what happened. Of course, they said when I brought it in that most people haven't even hit 20,000 miles on their 2016 T120s. I was already at 20,000 miles in about, what was it, 6 months? No, 5 months, whatever. So it was like 5 months. So the bike was out for a whole month, but I gotta say, props to you, Triumph, and thank you so much for you know, just taking care and standing behind your product. They got me a new transmission, and they did the 20,000 miles service at the same time, and gave me an option to save a bunch of money because they gave me all the fluids and they did all the work, and really, really, really am appreciative of that. So transmission's working great now. So the other thing to note is the suspension is absolute trash on this bike. If you do any kind of touring or long distance riding and sport touring, I'm a sport tourer. That's what I do with my bikes. Smaller bike, I'm doing big miles. Not uncommon for me to do 1,000 miles in a day. And the stock suspension is absolute trash. It just is trash. Okay, whatever that means. So, so I went and I upgraded to some Sportster progressive suspension. I went up to I think it's a 375 millimeter eye to eye. So we increased the height a little bit by about 40 millimeters, 35, 40 millimeters, which increased the ride height. It actually helps a lot with the handling. This bike handles like it's on rails now. I also did added a bushings, custom-made bushings in the front end to kind of give it some more spring, a little more preload, and boy, what a difference. So the bike handles like it's on rails, it picks a turn, and it's really, 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 really tight. I also have converted the tires. I am now running tubeless, and I'm running Michelin Pilot Road 4 GT 120/70, 18 in the front. That is a ZR radial. And then in the back, I'm running the 150/70 17, which is the standard size. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not 100% sold on this tire, just because with the enhancement upgrades on the suspension, I am running the tire right to the edge. I'm not even pushing it hard. I'm in Florida, yes, and I'm in Ocala, so yes, there's some really technical turns, but like, watch this. and it handles good, great, it's awesome, but I just think I want a little wider profile just so I can have a little more lean angle, especially since I upgraded the suspension and increased the ride height, which is great because, as you can tell, my shifter's ground out, my pegs are ground out. I was grinding parts all the time. Now I don't grind parts at all. Even when I do technical in parking lots to screw out the tire, I'm not even close to grinding out, which is great. It's perfect. That's what I wanted. You probably noticed that the bike is definitely not quiet. I'm running an X-pipe. This is a Moto X-pipe. You can follow it. You can get more details on my intake and exhaust on my other video, but I'm just going to go over it real quick. So I got a Moto X-pipe, decat, and then I'm running MGO reverse cone mufflers, and then I'm running pod filters. These are just cheap old pod filters. I was looking at getting some for the Triumph, but they're so expensive, so I ended up just getting just those ones I had in stock. So I just put those puppies on, not even touch the fueling, let the bike heat up, turn the cooling fan on, turn it off, and she ran like a gem. She is very, 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 very much. And then, so with the pods, you get a nice throttle. She got good acceleration. So yeah. So Moto X-pipe, MGO reverse cone filters or mufflers. I always say that. And then I've got just the generic pod filters that I use on all my Suzukis and all that good stuff. I'm also running a custom gear setup. I'm running a 39 tooth rear sprocket from A&J Cycles. Shout out to A&J Cycles. Woo! It's so nice. And I'm running a Thruxton R 16 tooth front sprocket. The stock chain. And I'm going to tell you, I am going to need to replace this chain after this vacation. And that's just about average on any kind of leader bike, you know. So I'm at 21,000 miles. I'll probably get close to 25,000, and I will really need to replace that chain. So she's demanding more oil these days. She's more talkative. She doesn't really have any slacks or loose or, you know, stretch parts on it, stretch bits on the chain yet, so that's good. Oh, good. Traffic. But other than that, yeah, so that's what I've done to the bike. It's been holding up pretty well, other than the other issues with the 20,000 mile transmission issue. That was pretty bad. All in all, would I recommend a Triumph Bonneville T120 for you? Well, it all depends on who you are and what kind of bike you want to ride. If you're a guy like me that's looking for a standard motorcycle that can kind of do everything, be a jack of all trades, but really not master of any, except for the looking cool part, I would definitely recommend a Bonneville. It's just, you're going to have to be careful. I'm definitely pushing my machine beyond its capability, or, you know, factory capability, especially now that I've got the suspension on it. I've done the engine intake and exhaust modifications, which actually make a huge difference. They really do. And and there's definitely a seat of the pants kind of acceleration notice. It's just awesome. The sound is just amazing. So yeah, if you're just looking for a good bike, the reason I got this machine is I wanted something classy, beautiful, comfortable. It's really comfortable. Cruise control, modern, ABS, traction control, heated grips. You know, I wanted all that kind of stuff at a really decent price point. I wanted something also that looked high quality and is quality build, and that's what this Triumph is. It's just a quality machine, you know, so you can't touch it. And if that's what you're really looking for, it's like a bike that can do it all, and, you know, has a lot of versatility. You want to put some knobby tires on it, jack the suspension up. There's available things to do that with. You know, parts are really becoming available for this bike. They share a lot of the parts with the 900s and all the other 1200s, which would be the Thruxtons and the Street Twins, or the new Speedmaster, all that stuff. So there's a lot of good stuff out there. So, you know, if you really want a bike that is going to be, you know, ahead of its class, you're really going to want to be ahead of your friends, be fast, I would not recommend this bike, just because it is not a fast motorcycle. And I say that again, it is not a fast motorcycle. It is quick, it does the job, it's quicker than any Harley I've owned, and I've owned, you know, the Street Rod 750 and the XR 1200, and I tell you, this is way faster than the XR 1200, but when you compare it to, you know, an FZ09, guess what? The FZ09 is going to be faster, you know, and it is what it is. But if I wanted some speed and some power, I would have got an XR 900. If I didn't want build quality, I would get an XR 900. This is by far way more refined motorcycle, and with 21,000 miles just about on it, it absolutely looks gorgeous. It runs great too. Other than the transmission issue, I've got to say this is probably the best power plant you can have in a bike this setup. It just has oodles and oodles of torque. 0 to 60 is really good. It pulls out of corners very well. You know, there's still some tweaking to do with the suspension on my end, because I'm now going into this aftermarket unknown. For a lot of people that get these kind of bikes, they're a little older than I am, so they're looking for a nice, beautiful looking standard motorcycle that kind of does it all, and that's what it is. You know, with the bias tire in the front, with the tubes, you know, you're going to have a nice, relaxed, reliable standard motorcycle. For me, I'm kind of pushing the envelope here. Honestly, if hindsight's 2020, if the Speed Twin was out, I'd probably be on a Speed Twin right now. Just because the Speed Twin is basically everything I was looking for. However, the T120 is just a little more classy. I just love the way this bike looks, and it rides, and yeah. So it's definitely a crapshoot. You know, you know, it depends on your taste. If you're really looking for that modern modern classic kind of look motorcycle, I highly recommend a Triumph Bonneville T120. So anyways, that's all I've got for my 21,000 mile review. You know, it's just a stellar bike. You know, it does everything so well, and I absolutely love it. And it's just one of those bikes that you look at and you want to ride, and then when you're on it, you can't get off it. So that's my summarization of the 2018 Triumph Bonneville T120. Thanks for tuning in. You can find me on Jed's Moto at www.jedsmoto.com. If you got some feedback or something you want to put in about the T120, shoot me a line at jeds@jedsmoto.com. That's jeds@jedsmoto.com. You can follow me at Instagram at jedsmoto, Facebook jedsmoto, and that's all I do, because I can barely keep up with that social media. So, and then of course YouTube. That's where I'm at. All right, folks. Well, thanks for tuning in. I want you to know that all in all, I've owned a lot of motorcycles. I've got about 300,000, about a third million miles ridden. And this is by far probably one of the best motorcycles I've ever owned. It is definitely my favorite motorcycle to ride. It's just so reminiscent of my first bike, which was a 1981 GS 750 4-cylinder, but it's just so refined, and the cruise control is just a great motorcycle. So it gets 5 out of 5 stars, Jed's Moto stickers, whatever you use to classify. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to, you know, actually follow me, hit the little bell icon. All right, guys, ride safe out there. Best.